This is the PL-89 Gematriatic Quantum Thought Calendar, and it is for the day of, it's actually for yesterday, not today. Usually the PL-89 calendar I usually do it every day, and if it's for Shabbat, I do it that night when it's no longer Shabbat. But today is Sunday, and I wasn't able to do it last night. I was super tired. But anyway, this is for Shabbat, which was the third day of Cheshvan, a very important day in a particular world, and to other worlds would maybe know nothing about it. But since I was a part of that world for one day, for some time, I knew that date, the 3rd of Cheshvan, Shabbat, 3 Cheshvan, or Mar Cheshvan, 5786, Parshas Noach. Parshat Noach, and the daf of the day of Daf Yomi was 41 of Zvachim. And why is that day important? Because it is the yahrzeit, the Hilula, or the anniversary of the passing of one of the greatest, most famous giants or leaders in the Sephardic world in recent times, Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, of blessed memory, and he was the leader, and he actually started a revival of sorts in the Sephardic world. Many people in Israel who were not practicing, not observant Jewish people, he inspired many hundreds of thousands, if not millions, around the world to come into practicing their faith, which is a great feat. And the level of care and concern that he had, and what is said about him speaks of him. I never met him, but he passed away, I believe it was in October of 2013. I believe it was 2013 or 2014, but I think it was 2013. I think he was around age 93, around that area. I'm not exact. I think it was 2013. But the third day of Cheshvan is the 33rd day of the year. And it marks a very special date in my work in general as well, because the 33rd day of the year, 3 Cheshvan, is the day that I started the Daf Yomi program of learning a page of Talmud every day, of which this is a calendar as well. This marks not only Daf Yomi, not only the Gregorian calendar, the Julian calendar, it also now holds the Islamic calendar, which is close to the Jewish calendar. It's a lunar cycle, although it drifts throughout the year, the seasons. It's a Julian calendar, the calendar that was in place before the reform in 1582, which means that those 11 lost days that happened in October of 1582, this same month, it's accounted for. In this calendar, it accounts for those 11 lost days. And because the Julian calendar now is 13 days behind and counting. So from 1905 or around there up until the year 2099, it's going to stay the same. I think after 2099, it's going to lose a few minutes each year. Loses a few minutes each year, so it's going to drift to 14 days and then more and more. But I would say, practically speaking, for the remainder of our lifetimes, whoever is watching this, I don't know how long YouTube will last. I mean, will YouTube be around in 100 years from now? It might be amazing to see. Imagine if we had YouTube about, like, let's say, someone making a video in the 1800s or the 1700s. That would be the most amazing form of history, because someone who was a historian and was recording, you could hear it firsthand from someone in that time. And so I think that's what this is going to include. It's a work of history. So it's not only a mathematical work, but it's also a historical work. So, and I hope that YouTube is around for generations to come, because let's say in 100 years from now, or 200 years from now, or even 300 years from now, if someone sees this video, they'd be able to see what was happening, a convergence of some sort between the calendars. And that's what this is. This is the calendar of calendars. It's a calendar that holds all calendars because it is a gematriatic quantum thought calendar, or a quantum gematriatic thought calendar. You can arrange it anyway. It's really gematriatic quantum thought calendar. And it holds all calendars. And any new calendar, right now, I recently included the Islamic calendar because it's making peace with the Islamic world on the ideational level. But there's other calendars, so many other calendars. It could include the Baha'i calendar, it could include all kinds of calendars. There's all kinds of weird, funky calendars that are out there now. It can include those too. But the question is functionality and what would it be for. For my purpose now, the most important calendars to keep in mind are the Gregorian calendar, of which today is this calendar today was October 25th, 2025, and the Hebrew calendar, which the day of this recording was the third of Cheshvan, which is the 33rd day of the Hebrew year, and I forgot exactly what day it is of the Gregorian year. That's important too. I should probably start announcing that. So probably going forward, I will start doing that, because those are all factored in the gematriatic calculus of other things. It's important to know that this is the 33rd day of the year. This day we recorded, not today, but yesterday was the 33rd day of the year. And I always get reminders as to why I'm doing it when I get sometimes, I don't know what the word is, either bogged down or weary or just wondering, like sometimes, what the heck am I doing with all these numbers and all this counting. I see some amazing glimmers of light on this calendar that really prove to me that I'm going in the right direction, or at least it seems that way. It could be, anything could be a deception, but as far as what I sense, the sense is that it's the way of truth and towards something good and positive. And one of those glimmers of hope happened on this day, on this calendar, PL calendar day, which is there's many explanations that, and many rules and things about this calendar that may take too long to explain. So I'll go straight to the point and just reference those rules very, very briefly. The rule that we start on this corner at a particular starting point is based on a law of dispensations. Law of dispensations is that there are 3 dispensations, and in each dispensation would determine where the starting point would be. So, for example, in the first dispensation, the starting point would be at a certain time, the second a certain time, and the third a certain time. Right now, it happens to be in the third dispensation. So we start a certain place on the calendar at a certain time, which means just a quick putting forth of an idea that is accepted in astrology and in other places, something called a fixed month. A fixed month is a month like this month, which is Cheshvan / November. In astrology, it would be Scorpio. The sign would be Scorpio. Those are fixed months. That means so the fixed months are Av / in Hebrew Av / August. That's one fixed month, which was just one cycle ago, 90 days ago. The next fixed month is this month, 90 days later. Every 90 days a fixed month, which would be Cheshvan / November, which will be just a few days, about less than a week. Cheshvan / November / Scorpio. The next fixed season, a month, is going to be February / Shvat / Aquarius. That will be the winter fixed month. And then the spring fixed month will be May / ER / Taurus. That's Those are the 4 fixed months. According to Dispensation 3, which we are in right now, the fixed months start the first day of this counting from this very first box. The first box is 8. And the calculation of the calendar is based on a verse in the book of Leviticus, chapter 25, verse 20, in regards to the Shemitah law. Shemitah is not only 7 years, a 7-year period of time, which marks 6 years of work, and then the 7th year is the year of rest. That parallels many things in the Torah, including the first creation. 6 days of work, 7th day rest, but that's like our work week, the Shabbat, 7th day. We have 7 years of work, 1 year of rest, and it points to the ultimate Geula, where you have 6,000 years of say work, or say of one complete cycle, and then the 7,000 years would be the year of Shabbat, the 1,000 years of Shabbat, which correspond to, without getting into, sometimes it gets dicey with the eschatological details, but the 1,000 years of Messiah, or millennial reign, or the 7 years, and these 1,000 years are spoken of in both rabbinic texts, rabbinic theology, and in Christian theology. They're both. I've seen them in both sides of the fence. But anyway, so the third dispensation, which you're in right now, and it's fast dwindling away. The third dispensation will end, God willing, according to the planning of this calendar. It will end in the springtime, which means after Pesach, after Passover, meaning the counting of the Omer time of 2026/5786. This entire 14-year cycle will be complete. And I think of it like, because in the computer version of this, you see 2 of the color patternings, 1 to 10, the color codes, and one goes up, one goes down. And I compare that to it's representative of Jacob's ladder, because it says that in Jacob's ladder there were angels ascending and descending, and that's what it goes 1 to 10, and then it goes 10 to 1, but they're just in colors. You don't see numbers. You just see white, yellow, green, orange, blue. One goes up and one goes down. And that's where you have the Jacob's ladder reference, but it's also another reference to Jacob, because it is said that, and this is, I think, a rabbinic idea, that Jacob studied in the yeshiva of Shem and Aver for 14 years. And it could be reflected in the verses too. You could calculate it into, how old he was when he left this and here and that. And you could probably factor it in there. But I don't think it's written explicitly in the verses. But the tradition and rabbinic traditions are important as well, as long as they're not outright contradictory to the Torah. They're definitely held in balance. So it's definitely possible that he could have learned for 14 years in yeshiva, and that would correspond to the 14 years of this calendar. It started in 2012, and it will terminate. Terminate sounds like that, but yeah, I guess terminate is the word. But come to it commenced in 2012, Elul, and will have its completion or conclude. And maybe terminate, but terminate sounds like getting fired or something, to me anyway. But it will conclude in the springtime of 2026. That's very exciting that I went through almost 14 years, and God willing, if we all make it that far, because everything is just up to God. But this will be done. I will no longer be counting based on this calendar. What came to me in the idea is that in the springtime of 2026, all of the 3 dispensations that I mentioned they converge into one. They unify. That means that, I won't go into it's too long to explain it, but basically, right, so they all converge into one. That means that, let's say I came to Aleph of Hijra next year, this time, I would be here, okay, and here, all at the same time. And it would be moving at these three different phases, parts of the calendar at the same time. That should be interesting. That would be like a multi-dimensional way of seeing time, things like that, information processing. But maybe getting a bit ahead of myself right now. But at any rate, getting back to the calendar today, as I was talking about those glimmers of hope, those shining glimmers of hope that I get as inspiration, is that yesterday was the 25th day of October 25th, Shabbat, 25 October, and on the PL-89 calendar, the third day of Heshvan, look at the box number 25. It doesn't go in order. It goes 8 plus 9, 8 plus 9, cuts off at 40. So this is where there's, and I've seen these convergences. In fact, today, the one that I'll be doing today, God willing, will also be a convergence. It has to do with 34, the fourth day of the year. But the third day of the year, the lunar and the solar converge in this third box with box 25. That means the third day of the 33rd day of the year, not the third day, I'm sorry, the 33rd day of the year, but it's the third day of this cycle. Okay, it's 25, and it was indeed October 25th. And it's box 25. Okay, I think I'm beginning to see that more and more, and that's good. That's what Gematria Ona, that's my own version of Gematria. Gematria Ona is the convergence of Gematria with time, with clock and calendar time. It's the work that I've coined it, called Gematria Ona. Gematria Ona is happening when you see a phone number and then you saw it at that time on the clock, and it was this time on the calendar, and they all seem to line up. That's a good sign. That means we're going into Gematriatic singularity. Gematriatic singularity is the ideal state to be in, because you don't have to think too much. You just look at the number and it satisfies 5 or 10 different levels. I can tell you 5, 10 different things. Oh, it's 25. Yeah, October 25th. Yeah, we're on the third day of the PL-89. Yeah, it happens to be the 25th day of this. Yes, I paid $25 for that yesterday. Yes, or today. I think I hope you get the point. I don't want to belabor it, but that's the idea of gematriatic singularity or synchronicity. So the coordinate for the third day of this cycle is C1. So on the lunar calendar, 3 Cheshvan, and God willing, the third day of November when we get there will be, and the third day of, I forgot the Arabic month, it's called, I don't even want to try this, I'm going to mess it up, but anyway, it's also the 20, it's also the 30, the third day of this new Islamic month. And so it's 25, and the coordinates are C1. Column C, row 1. Number 25, and this was the 25th day of October also. Okay. Done. Now solar calendar, we are in that famous 10-day twilight period. You see, there's another whole thing. I want to keep it close to 20 minutes, so I won't explain that, but in the 10-day twilight period, October 25th would be, the coordinates would be E11. E11, see there's only 10 rows here, but the 11th row is that invisible row. So E11 would be what would correspond to the 25th day of October, or any 25th day in this dispensation.